Good morning and welcome to What's for Breakfast, Lunch, or Brunch. And today, just to let you know, we are going to talk honey. And because over the weekend we went to the honey festival, and one of the viewers wanted to know about the local honey, so we will talk honey. But before I do that, because we got water boiling off to the side, and I'm going to make some tea since we're talking honey. So we'll pour that water in there and get that going. And I'm also going to get my breakfast at least started, because this is going to take a minute to heat up. So there is the leftover basic oatmeal that we had for, make sure that label's not showing, for breakfast over the weekend. And I'm going to put that in the toaster oven. See that little blueberry sitting off to the side. That one fell in the sink while I was using the rinse on the blueberries. So that will go to the mealworms. But there's the blueberries that we're going to add. Alright. I got a little bit left over in the refrigerator from picking them off the vine, so those we're trying to use up, because we're going to pick, I thought it was going to be the last batch the other day, but we got more, so we were giving some to our girls, which are aka chickens, and there's some more out there that needs to be picked within the next day or two, so we're going to continue to do so until the season is over with. We do, before I forget to mention, cover it with a bird cloth to keep the wild birds and our girls from eating them all, and that has been really beneficial, because last year the birds got to over half of it before we were able to get it. But this year, we've gotten a great abundance off of it by having it covered with the bird netting. And let's see. What was I going to get? It was important too. I'm over here trying to, oh, I was going to get that. And I need something to stir. And I need this little pan. Alright, so what I do is just turn on the toaster. As you know now, if you watch a couple of my videos, I use our toaster for just about everything rather than using the oven. Alright, see how, I wouldn't say seized up, but you know when oatmeal gets cold, oops, counter's clean, throwing that one back in there. It needs a little help to loosen up. So this is just a mixture of water and creamer, like creamer that you would put in your coffee. It's actually a sweet creamer, and I'm just using my spoon to lightly kind of separate that just a little bit so the milk can penetrate. And then at the end, I'm going to add a little pat of butter to it. But of course, not going to need any sweetener, because like I said, that's a sweet cream. An organic sweet cream that we use in coffee. Alright. And I'm just going to put it on this little sheet pan, because it'll make it so much easier to get out of the toaster. So we'll be right back. And that's in there for 350, so we're just gonna let it do its thing while we talk a little bit. And while I'm opening up or trying to get my tea, today we're gonna have matcha tea. Just to let you know, out of 20,000 known species of bees, there are only 8 surviving species of honeybees that are recognized. So wow, when you look at that in a perspective, the importance of preserving one of our best pollinators, the honeybees, plus they provide honey. That right there is why we do what we do. And we had 2 hives, and we've combined it into a single hive because one of the hives didn't have a queen. The queen either died, or, you know, sometimes they kill out the queen if she's not performing the way that they would like. So whatever had happened, that queen was no longer in the one hive. So we combined the hives to make them stronger, which that's my husband's hobby that he likes to do, his pastime. And maybe when he goes out there, it just depends. It's supposed to be in the 90s here. He's going to go out to see if this is the first year that we've done this, or that my husband's done it. I like to watch that. I watch from the window. It's super cool. I try to get a video when he's all suited up out there and playing with them and getting them situated. And also, we finally got a electric 2-frame honey extractor, and he's going to hopefully see if we can at least pull 1 frame this year for our own honey. And just a little, this is what I store my matcha tea in. And I always get the ceremonial blend, the ceremonial grade, I should say, because that's supposed to be the best out of all of them. Because, you know, you have your culinary grade for cooking. You have your ceremonial grade, which they use for ceremonial teas when they drink, which is supposed to be the best one. And then, you know, your regular matcha tea. Regular matcha blend. Let's see if we can get this open. It says tear here. All right. Love that. So let's pour 1 in. I always use, now this is that frother that I was telling you about in one of my videos. I use this for just about everything that needs to be mixed, because it's just a light push of a button and it does all the work. It's going to get that tea nice and blended in there. I'll rinse that off shortly. Now what I'm going to do, because I like my tea strong, we're going to try it. And let me talk while that's swirling around there and getting a good mix. That's a little too hot to add the honey right now. So we're going to discuss honey. And then I will add it once it cools off. Because as you know, the more honey is heated, the more nutrition that's depleted from it. So, and that water is piping hot still. And the honey, now just a little background too. I'm not going to show the label of the honeys, of our local honey that we've purchased, because for one, it has the grower's name on it, his family's, like his father, his brother's name, all the generations, because I think he's the 3rd generation honey grower. And it's got all their names on there and their phone numbers. So just to make sure I don't get that in there for privacy reasons. But here's one of our honeys from our local grower. And this is a quart. And if I'm not mistaken, this was 25. No, that was the big one. This one was $20 for this quart. And yes, we get a good deal because we know the local grower. Just a little background, we haven't purchased honey in a store in probably about 7 to 8 years, and we buy honey from local beef keepers. And we also got, which I did not think about it at the time, but now we have one of these, you know, where you can put it in and you wrap and roll the honey around and then let it drip into your tea or, you know, into your meal, whatever you're using it for. But I did not think to get something to store that in to where it has a little notch in the lid. So I need to get a container before I use that to be able to put that into a container with a notch so it'll continue to stay in there and not contaminate my container by constantly dipping into the large one. So I did get one of these, but I'm going to hold on to it until I get a container that it works better for. Let's see. So now that's that one. Let me open this one up. Now I didn't want to use this one yet for the simple fact that this honey here is brand new, of course, and I have an older honey back here. Okay, as you can see, let me scoot that one. Make sure the label's covered. This one here is starting to crystallize, which you can still use. The only thing that means is that the moisture level in it that keeps it fluid is starting to deplenish. So it starts to crystallize, which I'm going to show you in this tea here. As soon as you add it to it, it'll melt, it'll hydrate and melt back down. So I'll use this one first because this is the oldest before using the newer container of honey, which I dip a little bit of each so you can see. And here we are, 2 spoons, because I don't. Antimicrobial is the honey, but I still make sure not to cross contaminate. All right, so you can see that. Can you see it? I'm going to hold it over the container here, and that's still a little hot. But see how golden? Now I just pull a little bit because, like I said, that tea is really hot. And I'm going to eat the rest off the spoon because I want the nutrition from it. Can you see that? That is so good. And these are wildflower honey. That is so good. It's got notes of, it's funny, it's sweet, but you can taste like a bitterness of the, or tartness, I would say, of the flower. Like almost like a little orangey, lemony, bitter note at the back of your throat in there. And that comes from all the different flowers and plants that the bees decide to collect pollen from. All right. Now I'm going to move this forward. And these actually have the warnings on it. Let me read this one. Processed and prepared without state inspection. To warning, do not feed honey to infants under 1-year-old. So, there we go. Which is fine by us. We don't have any infants in the house. And then, whoops, that's got information on it too. So, let me get this to open. Alright, now this one here, as you can see, is the crystallize, starting to crystallize, and I'm going to put this down in there and pull some of that up so you can see what that looks like. Can you see the difference? Still great honey flavor, still really good. It's just that the moisture content is starting to leach out, so we're just going to put that down in the. And as you can see, as I put it down in there, see if I can keep it surface level, kind of is going to melt down. Okay. See how it's starting to drip off and melt down? It's just because it's not hydrated. So we put that down in there, and I'm going to whisk it up, and then we'll give it a taste. I hope it's not going to be too sweet, but we'll see. And it takes a minute because, like I said, it needs to be, I could tell by how it's, whoops, try not to get my tea to come out of there. And it's incorporated because I don't feel the little lump in there anymore. And there you go, as you can see. Let's give it a taste. That is good. Sweet, but not overly sweet. Just, when I say sweet, you can actually taste the honey. It doesn't taste like sugar. So, that's the honey. Our newest honey, and our honey that we've had for a little bit. And we do have, like I said, from my husband's mentor, also as well, is the honey that's still on the comb, which, let me grab another utensil. And my husband went out to help him, I guess about a month ago, with his beehives, and he ended up giving us some comb. And I turn it to the side. Here's the bottom of it. And I use this just to pinch off a piece to actually suck the honey out of the comb. You can eat the comb if you would like or able to. There's another piece. Alright. And then what you see here is part of the cap before they scraped it all off. And there's what the honey looks like inside the caps. We'll turn the comb this way so you can see it. So I will eat that up too. So like I do the honey just like, even though I heard and read that they have found honey even in Egyptian tombs that was still good. But I still like to do first in, first out. So, and then we have more different honey, or not different, but more wildflower honey in the pantry. So we'll just stock it as, like I said, first in, first out. And also, what was I going to say? Honey. Oh, if you can, like I said, your honey, try not to have it. The ideal is that anything over 110 kills out nutrition, apparently. So if you can, try to have, if you're having honey, especially local honey, because if you can find it, which I'm going to attest to this because I do believe if you're able to have honey, no allergies to it. I have suffered from, seasonal allergies for a very long time. When I was in my 20s, I started having issues right after I had my son with allergies. And I noticed by consuming local honey that it has helped me particularly with allergies, because they are taking pollen from the local flowers, and it seems to benefit me. So that's why we transferred over to, like I said, probably about 7-8 so years ago, if not more, to just strictly buying local honey. No store-bought honey whatsoever. So we're blessed to be able to do that. And if you're able to as well, I will highly recommend, because even which is funny, organic local honey, which I agree with him, the beekeeper that is a friend of ours, and that's the mentor to my husband, said, how can it be organic honey when bees fly up to, I think he said 3-mile radius, can fly up to a 3-mile radius from their, their location. So how are they able to say that it's organic honey? Like that, that producer, how are they able to be like, okay, they got that from a pesticide-free flower. They got that from pesticide-free, corn or broccoli or squash. Or how can you determine that? I was like, that's food for thought. Food for thought. But my thing is, local honey, you have a way of, like, we don't use any pesticides in our yard. As we can tell our neighbors up, but we don't know what 3-mile radius that they are flying to. So we do have the satisfaction of knowing that we are doing what we can to help with the pollinators, and also to get raw unprocessed honey instead of not knowing, because he also tells us, which I do believe and have looked into, that they have additives sometimes to it to stretch it, whether it's he even said to make sure with local that they're not stretching it, say with carob syrup or sugar-based items to kind of extend their products. So go to a trusted, get to know your local bee farmers. If you can, like my husband has visited sites of local bee farms, and that's where we get 99.9% of our honey from throughout the year is from a reputable local, we know him bee farmer. All right, so I'm going to pause this and get this put away, and then we're going to transition into breakfast. Okay, we are getting ready for breakfast, and of course, like I said, I got the oatmeal still in there, and this is a piece of the paper from the bacon, which I'll show you if you haven't seen that before. And I'm going to wrap it in this piece of parchment paper before throwing it away, and put it in the toaster, because this came from the freezer, and it's actually ballpark hamburger buns. And I'm going to make me a tomato bacon, and I'm going to make a jalapeno mayo to go on it. See, that's frozen. You can still see the ice crystals on it. And that's how we preserve it. And then I'm just going to wrap it in this paper here. Just a little light wrap, nothing fancy. And I'm going to put it in the toaster along beside the oatmeal. And that way this keep it from drying out while it defrosts in the toaster. And the oatmeal is coming along beautifully. So that should be done momentarily. And see, here's the other one. That'll go right back. One more left. Yay. We have been slowly going through our freezer to clear out, just random here's and there's, whether it's hot dog buns, hamburger buns. The other day in the video for lunch, we used some of the last bit of refried bean that we had frozen in there. Let me get this, put that back in there. Thank you. And the refried bean, and yeah, so when we open something, especially if it's something that our adult son is like, no, he doesn't want to eat too, instead of throwing it out or letting it go bad, we make sure that we freeze it. So that way it won't go to waste and we'll have it for later. And this is the bacon. And see that paper? That's the reason I'm putting it on my plate, because it's already cooked. So you're just heating it up. But that piece of parchment paper is what I save to wrap that bun in there. and put it in the witch-call. So that way it gets one more use out of it before it gets thrown away. And 4 slices is 180, oh my goodness, is 80 calories for 4 slices. So to me that's not bad at all. So we get my slices here in the air fryer. Love this air fryer. We use it a whole lot, multiple times a day, because it's quick, simple, easy. Alright. And it's so funny, half the time, like I think it's set on, let me turn around, look, 375, 350, it don't matter. I just put it in there and hit the start. It cooks all the same because it's already cooked. I'm just crisping it up, heating it. Alright, and we're going to get out the one little jalapeno that's left over from outside. And where is the mayo? Oh. And there, we're going to get out the tomato. Now what I'm going to do is, let me find a little, thank you, a little container there. And we're going to put a tablespoon of mayo. You know what? I might do a half a tablespoon. Let's see what a half a tablespoon. Okay. That look like a lot. A tablespoon. Let's just do it. My husband and I, just in case you might not know, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this in a video. We've lost a lot of weight. I've lost almost 200 pounds, and my husband's lost, that's the toaster, has lost over 100 pounds. And oh yeah, that oatmeal is bubbling, so I turned that off so the oatmeal, and I might go to take that out so the oatmeal don't continue to get too hot. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Because it is bubbling. Give it time to cool there. But what I was saying is that my husband and I, every once in a while we'll just keep track. Especially for my husband, because he shouldn't have a lot of carbs. Me, I don't watch my carbs. Actually, I prefer carbs over protein, which it is what it is. But every once in a while, if we want to, because winter's coming, and you know, a lot of homebound in the winter time, just because it is winter, is making sure that we do not put on any more weight during the winter months, especially with the holidays coming up. We want to kind of keep an eye. That bacon's pretty much done, so we're just going to stop it. So we can kind of maintain that, because like I told my husband, you know, this is my favorite knife that I was using the other day, because it's cut through butter. This is the rest of that jalapeno from our garden before we go out there and pick some more. Like I said, I think about 7 or 8. That's a pretty good size out there. So we're putting jalapeno. And it's funny, if it seems like I'm all over the place, probably because I am, because It's early in the morning. The sun is coming up. And I'm hungry. And I get a little scatterbrained the more it wears on. So, as you can see, I'm trying to make sure I get every little bit. And I'm just throwing what little refuge is in our compost container that go out in the garden. But as you can see, that's the only thing that's left of that. Throw it over in the compost. And just a light little cut of this. But anyway, back to the weight. We make sure that we try to be mindful of our proportions of what we're taking in. And yeah, most of the time I eyeball it, but I'm really trying to have my husband, because he's a visual person, to see, because this has been going on with me since about 2019, the beginning of 2020 is when, you know, I really started losing weight. And by the middle of 2020, it just, I mean, it wasn't nothing for me to lose 25 pounds in a month. And I went to a doctor's appointment and I got on the scale and it was 25 pounds light. I'm like, wow, okay. And then, you know, went to a doctor's appointment again the following month, and it was 25 pounds lighter again. And then it just kept, you know, going and going. And like I said, I'm at a weight to now that I'm comfortable. And if I lose a little bit more, great. If not, I want to be able to maintain where I'm at. And same with my husband, we're able to, it helps with mobility. And yeah, we wanna try to not add more weight and make it even more difficult than it needs to be to, you know, move around and do things. All right, there's what little jalapeno in that mayo that's left over that I'm going to put on the bun with the bacon. And so that used up that container. Now we're going to get the tomato from the market. And use our knife. I think I want to fit that right there. Right, let's go right here. I know I say it, I think, every video, if not every other video, the importance of having a good knife, because it makes your handwork just like, I mean, barely, and it's got a good way. I mean, look, it's just barely hung on there, and if I go to cut some, it's just no effort. No effort whatsoever, except for having to use a lot of arm strength or full arm strength or hand strength. Basically, just lightly grip it and letting the blade do the work, and that's very important for me. So, if you can, get you a good knife. All right, let's slide that off to the side before I mix that. And then I'm going to show you the oatmeal. Move that forward just a little bit there. All my coffee syrups and drink syrups are back there in the way. All right. Now, you remember how I added that water and milk to that? And as I mix it around, now, I didn't think, duh, Sonia, the juices from the berries melting down in that, but it's gonna absorb, turn it a pretty purple, and it's getting those berries, not the berries, but the oats nice and rehydrated from being in the refrigerator. Can you see how it's starting to hydrate? So as that sets and starts to absorb that liquid, it should, hold on one second. night retainer in, so set that off to the side so we can see if that's where it's at or not. Okay, let's see. That is so good. Hotter than the Mojave Desert, but it is delicious. So we're just going to slide this back over and let it finish. So that will be part of my breakfast. And let's see if that bun is ready for us to finish doing what we need to do there. Here's my little bun from, oh yeah. See how that is? So it's totally defrosted, soft, and warm. And it's funny because it was wrapped in that bacon paper. So it actually, I can smell the bacon on it, which I'm not mad about. I'm going to use the same knife that I used to cut the tomato. I'm just going to spread that jalapeno butter. I wish. It might be another thing to make. The jalapeno mayo on top and bottom of the bun. Another tip, just in case anybody's wondering. Reason why we have these, if you're having a salad, and it's so funny because I don't waste anything, so I'm going to get a little scraper and scrape. Here we go, a little scraper spoon, get every bit of that out so it doesn't waste it. There it goes. If you go to have your salad, right, and you put, say it calls for 2 tablespoons, which is usually a serving of dressing in like a container like you just saw, and instead of pouring it all over your salad, you dip your tines of your fork in your, so if I had dressing in here, you dip your tines of your fork in your dressing and then use that to pick up your salad and eat it. Majority of the time, even with a large salad, that will be plenty enough dressing versus just taking the bottle and just pouring endless amount of dressing all over your salad. So there's a little helpful hint from me to you. All right, and there's a tomato. Let's get this bacon on there. All right. And I do not put salt, or I would usually put pepper, but since we got the jalapenos, I will not. And I do not put salt because of the salt from the bacon. Let's give it a little push. Oh, that sound. All right. The reason I push it down, I would need my sandwiches to be kind of flat to be able to eat them, so they're not too big to fit inside this mouth of mine. So that crunch is gorgeous, gorgeous. All right, now let's take a look at inside. All right, and that's gonna be lunch or brunch, breakfast, whatever you want to call it. Like I said, it's super early. It's about 8 or so. So there's my tomato, bacon, jalapeno mayo on a hamburger bun. And it's cool now, so I'm going to set that right there. And my oatmeal. And of course the matcha tea that we made earlier. We'll move that out the way. And thank you for watching.